up YouTube, Noezone here, and today I'm going to be giving y'all my review and breakdown on episode 3 of Ahsoka. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, I know I didn't review episodes 1 and 2. I just never got around to it because I didn't watch those episodes until Sunday, and because I still had to catch up on season 4 of Rebels, which is pretty much what I spent my entire last week doing. But just to give my quick thoughts on episodes 1 and 2 for y'all, I thought it was a pretty solid start to the show. I thought getting to see the Rebels characters in live action was really dope. The actresses for Hera and Sabine were great, and Chopper was just as amazing as he always is. I like that they dropped those first 2 episodes on the same day because it made sense with the way the story went in those, and it went right into episode 3 very nicely. But I did have a few issues with episodes 1 and 2 that I'll quickly go over, and there were things that I was really just kind of mixed on. I don't know how to feel about Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka yet. She was great in her Mando episode, and in Book of Boba Fett she was alright for the little screen time she did get, but I feel like there's this problem with the way she portrays Ahsoka where she has to be stoic like this all the time. Like, I feel like that's the only way I can explain it. It just doesn't feel like Ahsoka sometimes. But I do get that she's older and wiser in this show, so I can kind of understand why she's acting like that in a sense. And I also was kind of mixed on Sabine being force sensitive and her and Ahsoka having that master-apprentice relationship. It was just something that came out of left field and I did not expect whatsoever. But at the same time, I do think it makes Sabine's character a lot cooler, because if she just got brought into live action as a regular Mandalorian like the thousands that we've seen in the Mandalorian show, I feel like there wouldn't have been a lot of uniqueness to her character besides her personality. So I think there is potential in making her force sensitive. But that's basically my quick thoughts on episodes 1 and 2 because I didn't get to review them. But with all of that out of the way and without any further ado, let's get into episode 3. Starting out with my positives of the episode. And the first thing that I want to praise this episode on is that the fact that it's pretty much all killer, no filler. Because when I first looked at the runtime of this episode at 36 minutes, I got a little worried. But after watching the episode, it definitely warranted that runtime. Because by the end of it, I felt like I got everything that I needed out of this part of the story. I really like that training scene at the beginning of the episode with Ahsoka, Sabine, and Huyang, where Ahsoka is trying to teach Sabine how to sense her opponent's next move, instead of just seeing it with her eyes. Which I think is a really cool thing for her to teach for multiple reasons. One, because of her Tales of the Jedi episode where Anakin was teaching her how to sense what the clones were going to do before they actually did it, and that being a huge reason why she survived Order 66. And also because in Rebels, Kanan got blinded by Darth Maul, and he had to kind of learn how to see in a different way in the world. And it's also kind of a callback to A New Hope where Luke was trying to block the blaster shots with the helmet on his head. I thought that scene where Hera put that guy in his place was pretty awesome, especially when she called him out for not being on either side until the war ended, which is a big plus because that's very in character for Hera. I also want to praise Mary Elizabeth Winstead's performance in that scene because she has been a great Hera so far. I also want to mention that I like the way she voiced her concerns to the New Republic, with her being rightfully concerned that there are people that are still loyal to the Empire working within the workforce and the government, which should be a top priority for the New Republic considering what happened with the Old Republic. But I do think it's really interesting how we're getting to see how the New Republic handles things in all these Mandoverse shows. But the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that we got to see Jason Syndulla in live action for the first time, and they might have given us a little foreshadowing with him saying that he wants to be a Jedi to his mom. So by the time that Dave Filoni Mando movie comes out, we might have another Jedi on our hands, who knows. But I do really like that we actually got to see him, and I honestly am curious what Dave Filoni does have planned for him in the future. But my next positive of the episode is the way that Ahsoka explains how the Force works, and I really appreciated the way she explained it to Sabine, where she gave the whole spiel that it binds all living things like usual, but she added that pretty much anyone can tap into it. Yeah, talent plays a big factor, but like pretty much anyone can become a Jedi. You just have to have like the will and the strength to be able to do so, which is something I truly believe in as a Star Wars fan, especially because that's kind of how it was explained in the original trilogy, and not like the prequels with like the midichlorian counts and all that other bullshit. And it makes me buy way more into the idea of Sabine being force sensitive. So again, I really appreciate that Dave Filoni added that in. But next I want to talk about the space battle towards the middle of the episode, and I really enjoyed and had fun with it, especially with that really cool moment that Ahsoka gets during it, with her getting in a spacesuit on top of the ship they were in and pulling a ray on us. I just thought that was a really badass moment. And I also wanted to add something else since I'm already talking about Ahsoka, and that's the fact that I think that Rosario Dawson was a lot better in this episode, and she just felt more natural as Ahsoka in this one. I don't know what it was, but like I don't know, she felt more like Ahsoka in this episode. I think it might have been the fact that she was in teacher mode for most of the episode instead of being like stoic, but regardless, I enjoyed her a lot more in this episode as Ahsoka. But next I want to talk about Morgan's base, and I think it is super cool that she's based inside of an intergalactic hyperspace ring, and I can't wait to see that get used in a future episode, especially because it's right above a planet with Purgil on it, so I'm curious how they're going to actually come into play with that. I also wanted to add that the music was really good in this episode, just like it was in the first 2 episodes, and Kevin Kiner is absolutely killing it so far on this show. The visuals look good, and there's like no noticeable bad CGI or anything. Steph Green had some pretty good direction in this episode, especially during the space fight, especially when Sabine was shooting at the enemies and we got a bunch of POV shots. I thought those were pretty cool. But now moving on to the mixed section of the review. And the only thing that I was really mixed on in this episode was the villains. I will say that I'm I'm really liking Shin Hati so far, but I just want to learn more about her. Baylan Skoll is like at the very end of the episode, and that's it. Morgan Elsbeth was the same that she usually is. And Marak is in my mixed section because I truly am conflicted on his character, because I really don't want to believe that theory that it's Ezra, because I really do feel like that would be the cheapest reveal possible. And it really wouldn't make any sense, because why would Marak help them out but not tell them where Thrawn is if he was Ezra? Because he would know where Thrawn is. Like what? A lot of people think it might be Sam Witwer, since he did show up as a credit on the first 2 episodes, which I think would be really cool if he was under there, but I think it's just highly unlikely. But to be honest, I'm really only conflicted about Marak because of the fact that it might be Ezra. And again, that would just be a dumb reveal. But that's gonna do it for my mixed section of the review, and I don't have any negatives for this episode. Overall, like I said earlier, this episode is all killer, no filler. It had really good pacing, had some good action. What more could you ask for from a weekly Star Wars episode? And I just want to add before we get to the outro that I'm not going to score every individual episode of this show, but for my full season review, I will give it a score. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss that upload whenever Ahsoka wraps up. But anyways, if you enjoyed my review, make sure you leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel a lot. Make sure you share the video with a friend if you think they would enjoy it as well. Leave a comment with your thoughts on episode 3 of Ahsoka. And as always, guys, it's been Noezone. Peace.